Hey everybody, my name is Branden Terrell. I just want to say hello and let you guys know we got something exciting coming your way tonight. There's a lot of special things going on. I think the special thing for me is knowing that we got Ted Gray and Michael Stone out there heading this up with you guys. And it was only a year ago they were sitting right here inside San Quentin with me. That's a gift from God, and I'm proud of those guys. I'm proud of the entire Coaching for Life team and all the people that came together to make this event happen. I'm getting ready to introduce you to a new friend of mine, Branden Browner. He played in the NFL, won a couple Super Bowls with the Seahawks and the Patriots. He has a powerful story and message that he's gonna share with you guys, and hopefully I ask him some good questions, and his story can help you guys equip your players and kids and help them become decent human beings. Hope you guys enjoy the night. Thank you. So for those of you guys who don't know, this is Branden Browner, a new friend of mine. Actually trying to get him to become a baseball player. Branden, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Branden Browner. I made the mistake of coming here. I played professional football. I always hate to use the term child abuse, because that's what my mom knew. She ruled with iron fist. She was real strict. Ass whoopings were common around my household. Growing up, I seen no problem with it because it made me tough. The line of work I did, it fell right into place. I was very aggressive, played with a lot of passion. Outside of the things I was going through in the house, having the football field was a way to let out some of the things I wasn't bold enough to say back to my mom. When accepting the abuse, I took it out on others. So that's why I say it all goes together. So some of the trauma that I dealt with, was never treated as an adult. My father's actually in prison as well. My father's been down going on 17 years.
When you said, you took a lot of your anger and you used the sports field, the football field specifically, to kind of release things, right? Release some of the pain. Did you have coaches growing up? Can you talk about some of the coaching experiences you had, to where there was anyone in particular that coached you that kind of dug in more than just football and kind of just, help mentor you or guide you through some of those traumas you spoke
my
of?
high school coach, who actually, got a hold of me was also my Pop Warner coach. So, when I started Pop Warner from 12 years old on, he was like a father figure, because my father wasn't there. He seen the talent in me. My mom, worked jobs, so it was times, she couldn't get me to practice. He'd come pick me up, and I'd practice, then go stay the night at his house, and just was always there for me. The times I did mess up and needed, some backing, somebody to come, vouch for me, he was always there to vouch for me.
Branden, can you maybe elaborate a little bit how you were treated, and if you were treated different because of your athletic ability? I know we had talked about it a little bit on the baseball field the other day, but why don't you share some of those experiences?
Definitely, I'd say I was treated different. Pretty much a normal kid. Peer pressure and all those things I had to deal with, fighting and get suspended from school, but because I was a good athlete, I had people that overlooked some of my situations, my issues, because they needed me on a Friday or a Saturday for a game. I went ineligible with my grades 2 or 3 times in high school. People don't notice it happened to me in college as well.
For me in high school, I didn't even have to show up to class. I'd show up to class and just walk out, and they knew they needed me on Friday nights, so I could definitely relate with that. But I think it was because of that privilege that I received, because my athleticism allowed me, like you just said, to not learn the lessons I needed to, receive the discipline I needed to. That, I'm not going to blame my incarceration on that, but it definitely played a role. Let's move on a little bit. When you came into the league, right? I know I'm a little bit familiar with the 90-minute symposium you guys receive, but if I understand right, that's all you guys really receive, right. and then it's on the game time and winning, and that's it, right? Right. Can you, your experience coming into the league in what the culture was.
We're getting paid a lot of money for doing something we've been doing since I was 12 years old, So like I'm a big old kid, It's a lot of immature men, you got some, that you can go to for some guidance or some advice, myself included, still got some growing up to do, some things that we internally got to deal with. And it was just hard to deal with those things and be a parent. What you do well is, playing a kid's game, you know what I'm saying? And I spent a lot of my time, trying to be the best I could be as a football player, and as a dad, but also, enjoy, the money and the things that came with it,
I mean, you had everything, but as we were talking earlier, you might have been the best football player on the field or an elite athlete, but you like to be related to as a normal person. So can you kind of talk about some of the internal struggles that you battled, throughout your career, that you could, maybe give credit to why you ended up coming to prison?
It's documented where I failed, 2 drug tests, missed maybe one season, 4 games, and the 4 games went to double, maybe 8 games, missed out on, maybe a couple million, and looking at that from that outside perspective, like, man, you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? You willing to risk, millions of dollars, to get high. Having money, I had the opportunity to go check myself into, behavioral institutes and rehab and things like that. And so I've been through the courses. I've been through, talking to the therapists and psychologists and things of that nature. There's always some underneath, for a drug addict. There's always some underneath the surface that person's dealing with. For me, it was a lot of the child abuse, that I dealt with as a kid. The things that happened to me, I never would do to my kids. It's no child should ever deal with that. But now, since it led me to here, it's like I've been trying to tell you, it's some things that are bothering me, and I think me and you as a mother and son, we should go see a therapist and talk about some things. My mom was never, one for doing that, and I'm not putting the blame on her, but when you go see these psychologists and these therapists and they, dig and try to figure out what it is, you go back to, childhood. Now that I'm a parent, I try and instill that, try to, parent from a loving perspective. Every time I talk to my kids, I make sure I tell them I love you. I can probably count on one hand, I'm 36 years old, where my mom, we told each other, I love you. You know what I'm saying? It's just that awkward. But I do understand that this is a time that I can better myself, because it's just me. Like I said, I'm dealing with at night. So when it's hard for me. During the day, I'm go about my business, do what I do, but it get hard when the lights go off and it get quiet, man, and I'm there with myself and just my thoughts. That's when it get tough for me, A lot of reflecting, and a lot of the shit I reflect on ain't pretty, you know what I'm saying?
If you haven't spent a lot of quiet time in the dark rooms, you're not ready for the spotlight.
Right.
And I think that's how I look at themselves. When you came into the league, was there anybody in the organizations that you played with that kind of invested to get to know you in your child, wanted to know you on a personal level and what you went through?
Nah, because it's about winning, you know what I'm saying? And it's a $1 billion industry, and everybody's job is on the line when you lose, and not just as a player, general manager all the way down, the owner makes that decision. So when you're losing, there's a lot of complaining going on from players. Players, I'm not liking this coach. Coaches, I'm not liking the way this player's playing. When you lose, everybody could get fired. So you're not really talking much about anything personal other than football.
For the youth coaches that are watching this and the parents, what's a message to them? Like, what can they do to better equip their players for life?
I think, just like I was saying with parenting, being able to listen to your young player, It goes both ways. You both can learn from each other. Of course, the child's probably going to learn a lot more and carry on to some of the, qualities like discipline, those things that you instill in them. But you're still growing as a coach and an adult, so you can learn from listening, when this child is, pushing itself through, tired and really don't want to do it, or scared. There's some conversation that need to be had, if this is what you really want to do, and helping this child, overcome that fear.
Your identity, one of the things you told me, that when you left football, all you knew was football, and you thought your identity was a football player.
For sure. And that's crazy. I say that because once the game was taken from me, I realized that was my identity. You know what I'm saying? So once I wasn't going to practice and doing those things that I was used to doing every day, and making the money and doing whatever that came with playing football, once that was gone, I kind of lost myself. I fell into this spiral. The drugs became obsessive. And not being able to deal with, that trauma, I wasn't able to go release my anger out on the football field. Now it's been released in negative ways.
You went through an entire adult life hiding the pain of the traumas, your childhood traumas, on that football field, and once football was gone,
It came out. For sure.
And that's powerful. Today, what's your definition of success?
Mastering myself. I get this high from, I won a championship, but the lowest of the lows, I'm in prison, treating it like, there's a lesson to be learned in this, instead of, beating myself up and falling deeper into a hole because I'm stressed out and I don't have the skill set to handle the stress that's coming with this. So I say success will be able to master those emotions. Being in here, I got time to reflect, and see where I messed up. But I still deal with, those anxieties, the jealousy, a lot of that stuff, which I think is normal, but it's how you handle the situation that ain't normal. And in the past, I didn't handle situations normally. So I think being in this situation, I'm forced to grow.
Branden, I want to thank you. It takes a lot of courage to talk about some of the stuff we talk about. A lot of people will tell you that your success was based off winning a couple Super Bowls, right? Mm-hmm. I want to encourage you and just let you know that me personally, I believe it's your failures that your power comes from, and that you're on a journey to turning that trauma into triumph.
Right.
And I really thank you for this. I hope those who are watching and listening to this could take it to heart, man, that you literally went through your whole adult life playing football, using that football as a tool, ultimately, to cover up your traumas and pain.
Right.
I want to leave you guys with this. Often the longest journey a man will ever take is the 18-inch journey in connecting his head to his heart. Life is all about succeeding in our relationships and having the capacity to love and be loved. Whether a coach or a parent, you're a leader, and you can only lead someone as far as you're willing to go yourself. So remember, every person has a story that fits between two book covers. To be empathetic, instructive, and to have an impact, we have to find our own narratives first, understand them, contain and bind them. For if you want to be a better coach, you have to become a better you.